available to look at. We can see where they're going to go. Not going to be Villa.
Uh, Immediately banned out. I love that. Immediately just like that.
Yeah, nah, I'm
Chalet,
not going to do that.
Clubhouse, and Club Chalet and Coastline being banned out. Who wins? I would have liked to have seen a little bit of spice there, a little bit of spice on the Thursday night, as I say, Dino. Multi on the Friday night. We are indeed going to bank. This will be the second time we've seen it this season. Actually, Delta Project famously playing on it and actually losing on it. So again, we haven't seen it since. I think a lot of players have been like, "Well, if Delta lose on it, maybe we will lose on it." But no, I love the spice here. I love that second and third are going to bank. One of them has to win it. And again, it has just gone back into the competitive map pool, so the strats are going to be fresh and new. Um, oh, I like this. This evening's coming to be very, very spicy. It really is. Like that first game, again, I really enjoyed that first game. And going into this, Dino, to be able to be gifted, be graced with the presence of Bank. Yet
Huh.
again, a map that actually I have a lot of fond memories with you on. Uh, Many a fond memory. This was our map, dude. This was our map.
No,
The
Coastline was our map.
Coastline and Bank then. Coastline and Bank.
Coastline and Bank.
Because
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Coastline was me just screaming a lot, but
It
going
wasn't
into
screaming.
these going into these map bans, again, the classics. I am expecting the classics. Want to see that Thatcher away. Potentially, depending on how Randy's want to play this, they could get very spicy here and ban out like a Habana or something like that. Um, so I'm curious to see how they're gonna go with this. The Jackal, however, do you know? The
Yeah,
Jackal
that's
being removed.
gonna leave a lot of hard breach on the board. Only the Thatcher being removed will make things a bit easier for the attackers than what you would expect. Typically, like you say, that Hibana gets removed. You would sometimes see a Maverick get removed, but gonna be the Jackal instead. I'm gonna follow up with the Valkyrie. So going to be interesting to see how Sparkle Team want to go for this last ban. If they leave the Kaid up on the board, it's going to make their defenses a bit easier for themselves. It's going to make those attacks really difficult when the side switch comes along. And yeah, they're going to go with the Kaid, and it's going to be the mirror getting removed.
Absolutely. I think, a lot of these bands, they make sense to me. The Jackal, I feel, is a little bit wasted though. Um, Again, I get that Randy's are starting on attack, so potentially they don't want to mess with that hard breach too much. They're still leaving Maverick as well, which I think Maverick you just need, in my opinion, on this map, especially if you're attacking that, basement site. Um, I don't think anyone would really ever risk banning out Maverick. And if they did, it's very, very spooky. Love the sweat already. I love the sweat coming through from Randy. Is that the lion pick rather with the Capitao? And there's Lua sixing. I'm actually being trolled by Lua at this point. Lua sixing, of course, onto the Maverick and not the Twitch and picking up that diffuser. He'll be the one probably going for the plant if he does not die. Again, beautiful lineup on both sides here. We've got the Arunis, we've got the Mozzies, we've got the Kaid, we've got the Smoke. This Kai is presumably going to be on the hatches as well. Again, this site you really do need to get that hatch control before you can make your collapse. Typically around the kind of server area. So lots to think about. Lots to think about. I missed this map so much, man. I missed it. Like, oh my god, I'm so glad it's back in the pool. So glad.
Yeah. Well, it did need to go. It did need some of the changes. Those garage or west side windows getting closed off is an absolute godsend because now no one can sit on parking for 3 minutes. But and as well, the addition of the door and the moving around of the hatch does make things far more interesting, I believe, on the attack. But Randy's, they're going to make things, in my opinion, rather difficult for themselves, as they're not going to be picking up that Hibana, despite the fact that she is available to be played. So with only one true hard breach yet, and we do have Amy Lee bringing out that secondary hard breach gadget on the Capitao, it doesn't give them a lot of wiggle room. It doesn't allow for any mistakes to come through, and that could really limit their options.
I mean, limit indeed being the word there because there's no limiting beliefs here with that kind of lineup. They believe in themselves right now. They aren't
Hmm.
going to make the mistakes, Dino, because they're coming into this. They know exactly what they want to do. They've brought all this utility for a purpose. They have this lineup for a purpose. Um, let's get stuck in.
Absolutely. The shot's already going back and forth. Pandy's going to get on out of there, but the lion scan, it catches you when
Ooh.
you're falling, and that's going to give them some good information that the defender is already rotating away downstairs. But Pandy choosing not to run back to site immediately and is going to start to try and play around inside of archives. Is spotted out from the player up inside of the square balcony. As we are going to have this Jaeger roam around and try and take up space and set up a crossfire as the swing coming on through. Pandy able to get aggressive and push on up close onto this Nomad, the pre-fire, and that's going to be Maggie going down. Is she ready for the second? No, she's not, as that's going to be Tribatten getting that kill onto the roaming Aruni.
Absolutely, and Maya waiting so patiently here in the electrical room. Potentially about to get this really nice flank off on server stairs. Is she aware of the player running into archives?
Oh,
Yes, she is, but she does miss, but she still manages to get the pick onto Amy Lee. Goodness gracious. Uncontested, unpunished. It's outrageous, Dino. Lua getting the pick onto Shanice, however, in retaliation, so it's whittled it back down to a 3 versus 3. Harrigan actually dropping into Vault, Tribatten also being a Vault entrance in that. The
oh.
Lion Scanner's going to go out again, but Hystia with the gorgeous pick there. SMD11 to the face. Tribatten falling. Lua also falling to Maya as well. It's all left down to Kerrigan here on the Zofia. Hystia and Isuzu having to clutch out for their team, but they do have the advantage here having an extra player, and there we go. Sneakily tucked against the wall. What can you do?
Well, not a lot if you're Curligan in this instance, as that is going to be her going down and the round going the way of the defense. They were able to get, or the Randys were able to get that back hatch open, which provided them with a lot of space to go for the drop, but it didn't really give them much beyond that. They, without applying pressure elsewhere, without having someone on the main stairs or control over server, you can be kept in a very small box, and that's what appears to have happened in that round. And Sparkle Team, they're going to take that to the bank every single day. And yes, that is a bit of a pun intended there.
A bit of a pun intended indeed. And I will say that Lua on the fuse, Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball, and those spicy meatballs will be falling through some questionable positionings on this side of all things. Presumably, we're going to see a Northern Repel come through from Lua to really make the most of that utility. Else, I do think that's going to be a bit of a risky one. Potentially, it could be that they felt that they were going to go to archives, and again, if that fuse has been brought to archive, that would be absolutely gorgeous. And I think, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a sticky one for that fuse utility, but we'll see what happens. Actually, will it? I've just remembered, ladies and gentlemen, there were changes to fuse, and it can now go through hard reinforced walls. So, actually, I take it back. I am silly. I'm putting the silly hat on. I think this is going to be very fun indeed. Again, all they have to do really is get Skylight control, and then Lua can just go ham on those walls.
Yeah, they will need to get rid of those electricals. Fuse is still, not indomitable. There's still counters to the fuse charges, and those electricals are going to be the first hurdle that Randys will need to overcome, as we are going to see Maggie on her one coming on into this Lone Teller's office. As the Nomad, this is a bold move to take, as we do see the castle up on the balcony above, playing next to counter Raketti. Not going to go fully for the peak, will not stick around for it. Maggie going to be able to stay alive. This is normally a pretty difficult position to hold, but it's going to be Curligan to get the opening kill of the round, taking down Shanice, but it's going to be Hystia. There we are, getting that kill onto Maggie, and that Nomad isn't going to be getting the full use out of her air jabs in this one.
Absolutely. Here we go. Lua indeed on that Northern Repel. So this is quite interesting because we have seen significant interior damage here already. And I'm wondering there where these last two clusters are going to go, Dino. I would like to see her kind of push Skylight and again use it on that main breach wall just to clear more of that utility that maybe sticking around for the plant, or even push people back if they are, typically people do like to lie down around that desk, don't they? Pandy, however, in this very sneaky position here.
Oh, Pandy, how are you able to get away with it every single time?
Outrageous.
The roam last round was effective, and it is again here too. This time able to pick up the double kill as well as wasting a lot of time. That's the diffuser down, and Kurligan just not aware, doesn't consider that Pandy would go for the repeat, and now it is just Lua, the Fuse, left alone. 1 versus 4 would have to be the ace for her to win this one out. The Sparkle team looking in control of this one.
Absolutely. I think this is a moment where I'm curious to see if Lua's going to actually try and go for the push. Yes, she is. Okay, I was thinking maybe, Lua taking a bit of a tactical timeout. It is the second round. You can kind of go in for one if you want. But it looks like she may actually make an approach into lobby. Yes, indeed she has. 1v4 clutch. Can she do it? As the thick boy, that is Fuse as well. We do see Hystia making her approach up towards Kanto wall as well to try and maybe capture her a little bit off guard. And is she going to be able to? Lua taking significant damage, and there we go. Hystia's going to get that pick, and that is Sparkle team. Another round on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, there's sort of 2 big components to that. Losing that opening player and having Maggie play over by herself towards that Lone Teller's office. Yes, it's called the Lone Teller's office, but it doesn't mean you should push it alone. It's a veritable death box if you're going in by yourself. And that opening pick, we know how important it is for both teams, as it just sets up the momentum for the whole round. And then the second part was, how was Pandy able to get a 3k from playing inside of stock? That's a massive oversight coming through from RANDYS. That's something that gets droned out in the rank stacks, and for Pandy to be able to stay alive like that and then have such a huge impact, RANDYS, they might not be too comfortable attacking here. They were the ones to ban out Oregon to send us to bank, and they're the ones getting caught out at the moment.
I think I just, again, I have like a sneak that maybe they weren't expecting that sight. To be honest, again, like I really do think that potentially they weren't expecting that, but I'm just really not sure. I'm really not sure. I can only speculate. I can only speculate. But nearly going the full way through the rotation now, and there's still a lot to do if you are RANDYS. You can still get some of these attacking rounds on the board. And again, ideally you do want to be getting those attacking rounds in as much as possible. Ooh, not sure how I feel about that rotate. That rotate on the right feels a little bit risky, especially when you consider the amount of angles coming through there from, the desk, there's metal, there's the stairs. Maybe I think it'd be a little bit safer on the right hand side, or our right when we were looking at it. We'll see how it goes though. We'll see how it goes. Again, it could even be that if they do a strong enough roam game, no one even gets to that point. But we'll see what occurs. This round is firmly on the way.
There we are. You can see Maggie using that Iana Gemini, gaining a lot of information and calling out this time nice and early that stock is 100% clear. Pandy isn't going to play in there and get a 3k in this round, as Tribatten has already worked her way inside of the CEO office. This is going to be clearing out this top floor. This is a good take coming through so far from RANDYS. It does take a bit of time to actually just get up to this top floor, and then to already have this full control just inside of a minute, or just outside of a minute, I should say, and to be opening up the floor. It's going to make things difficult, but it's going to be difficult for yourself if Kurligan goes down. Lua as well, losing a lot of HP trying to go for that peak, as Amy Lee is going to be able to get that kill onto Pandy, and Kurligan will be revived.
Yes, indeed. So the advantage going in favor of RANDYS so far in this round. A nice strong start for them, and that vert play can start coming through. And as I've mentioned previously in the evening, yes, that verticality works both ways, but Isosu does not have any C4 left, and nobody else has a C4, so it is going to come down to gunfights through this floorboards. And as no surprise, Kurligan's going to get the pick onto Shanice, because again, it is difficult to be in those kind of encounters as a defender without a C4. Maggie making her approach to the lobby as well, applying extra dimensions to pressure towards the side. Tribatten getting very, very aggressive and bolshy around this window. And again, I saw the tiniest bit of health. Tribatten and Maggie a pick apiece. It's all left down to Maya, who's on the roam as this Vigil Dino. 1 versus 5. Can she do it? She gets one of them. Certainly so, but there we go. Tribatten is going to take her down. Fortunately, a nice try, though. We do appreciate the attempt. That is a nice, solid attacking win, finally, for RANDYS.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of the... even back when Bank was first in the map pool, that was always the more difficult site to hold. Or more difficult of the tertiary sites to hold that old archives tellers used to be, in my opinion, at least a little bit easier to hold on to for most teams. So Sparkle's team, valiant attempts, but just getting picked off one by one by one. No pressure up on the top floor. RANDYS is going to take that every day of the week and run with it. But it is going to mean that Sparkle team are able to go back downstairs into that locker's CCTV room, where with the Kaid on the board, they're going to have a lot of control. This time we are going to see Amy Lee bring out a dedicated hard breacher in the ace to assist Lua on the Maverick, and not just bringing the secondary hard breach charge that we saw previously. So we might get to see a bit of a different dynamic from RANDYS this time around.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they're obviously losing the utility of those, fireballs and smokes as well. Smokes can be very nice to push this site actually as well, because it does give you an extra bit of coverage. If you do get that server wall open, you do want to go for the plant. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room, maybe bait a few C4s here and there. But
5 seconds to insertion.
yeah, I do think that was a pretty sensible change for them to make.
Attacker's objective is to
Pretty
locate a
sensible
bomb
indeed. And
defuse it.
again, I think it's still a lot safer to take Ace nowadays over the classic of Thermite. But
yeah, Ace is just, like, at this point, better Thermite. You've got that range capability
Exactly,
with the Selmas. You've got a better gun. Oh, Pandy. There's no way she can keep getting away with this.
I really hope not. I hope they drone her out and they managed to shut her down before she can cause any more carnage. Previously getting a 2k from that stock trading area, would not want a rerun of that. Certainly not within the first minute of the round. At least Amy Lee's drone on the hunt, hunting for the feet of Sparkle team. And there we go. They're going to know exactly where she is now. So rightly so, we're going to see the players of RANDYS focus their attention towards that stock area. Tri-Ban holding this nice long angle. Maggie's going to get aggressive on the window as well. So she is nice and pinched. If they can do this quick enough, it's still going to give them enough time to continue gaining this map control and go close and close towards the site, to be honest. Because again, Dino, they're on top floor. Nearly half the time gone. They have to get a step on.
They have no idea where Pandy's gone. It's taken them about 30 seconds to realize that she dropped the hatch and could have gone anywhere. She's actually been able to rotate around through square and get rid of that Nomad air jab. So that flank watch that they had set up nice and early on is already gone. This is going to make things very difficult for RANDYS moving on into this round. Kurligan is down inside the garage and is able to hold this long angle and deal with any contests that might come through. For the most part, this will occupy at least some of Sparkle team's attention, but it's not really going to get you much of anything unless you have a concerted push coming in from elsewhere. As we do see Amy Lee able to get this back hatch open, as well as the lobby hatch was opened up earlier on by Lua. So we are going to get a bit of a push, but they're completely neglecting server yet again. That's going to be Mia to get the kill onto Amy Lee. It's going to be the diffuser dropped as the flank coming through lobby and upstairs. It's going to be successful. Pandy getting one more before Isosa gets the kill onto Maggie. Mia gets one onto Lua, and now it is just Kurligan on 1 point of health left in the 1 versus 5. Is able to down one. The frag nade's going to come on out to try and secure it to deny the flawless round. And that will be the case. Down coming through as well onto Pandy before finishing her off. But it's a 1 versus 3. With incredibly low HP, with just 1 tick from that smoke canister will be enough, but Kurligan doesn't care. Mia falling. A bit of a throw potentially coming through from Sparkle team, but with that gate going back up and with the time running down, there's almost no possibility that Kurligan can pull this one off. Another smoke canister is going to deny her entry. The Malusi Banshee's going to slow her down. It's going to be Shanice from behind get that kill.
An admirable effort coming through from Kurligan. So absolutely just the patience when you've got the tiniest bit of health to just let them come goblin running towards you, get those picks off as best you can. Ultimately, as we say, sixth the time defender. What on earth went on with my brain there? Six. Oh my god, I'm doing it again.
Time is the sixth
defender. Thank you. Goodness gracious me, what's going on with my brain today? Time is the sixth defender, and you really have to be watching that clock at all times. A bit of a different lineup coming through now from RANDYS. Lots of intel Lots of intel indeed. And I think maybe that's because of how that last round went. You know, they really did struggle around that stock area getting those drones off. And now that they're bringing Flores as well, it's not just that drone utility, it's also the capability to remove defensive utility from their paths. You've got the Zero as well. Maggie firmly pumped onto the Zero. Again, another secondary hard breach there as well. They're taking the Thermite, Dino. They're taking the Classico. They are taking Thermite. Nowadays, Thermite has smokes as well, which is, you know, a nice thing to take in your pocket. A nice thing to have in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Smokes are always useful. They can cover a plant, set up an angle, and just all in all help your team consistently. But, you know, we've got those 4 Zero cams. We've got those 4 Flores drones. We've got effectively infinite droning coming through from Amy Lee as well, and Tri-Baton able to lock everyone in place and ping them if they move. Randy's just stacking up the intel game massively here.
Exactly.
But I don't know if it's the play. I don't know if they're overcommitting to it. That Nomad worked in the last round, or would have worked in the last round, but they let their eye off the ball. They missed the rotate coming through from Pandy. The air jab got destroyed, and then, you know, they just got caught out on the flank.
I think maybe it's as if this time they do just want to go a bit more direct with it, and they just want to waste as little time as possible worrying about people. If they have that kind of intel utility, it's again, they can really, again, to be fair, if you're, well, Pandy's not doing it, but if you're in a defensive position as a roamer and you're having like 1,000 drones coming towards you, or a ton of utility like that, you're just like backing off at that point. You're like, I'm not even gonna deal with this. The Lion drones, the Floreses, the Zeros, all coming out into that stock area, Dino. And again, here we go, Maggie using this camera here, to be able to see that stock is now clear. It's working out for them. You know, a minute's gone, and they know that stock is clear. They know that they've got Skylight control, but they've got to watch out for that mid as well. Pandy is going to down Lua there by the breach wall, and they are going to be fully aware that there is a player around that area, and they know that that Vez is going to be coming off too. Perhaps we will see. Oh wait, no, there's no C4. Actually, there is a C4. Kaid has 1 C4. Pandy is going to get the pick onto Maggie. Not before she's shut down by Amy Lee, though. Getting chaotic, Dino. Kerrigan getting the pick onto Mia as well. 3 versus 4. They are doing a lot better for all of this intel, but again, it is very chaotic. And there's a lot of punishment almost coming through from Sparkle team for the more direct approach here, as they have been kind of yeeting out of positions which are potentially a little bit unexpected at times.
Yeah, and that means that Randy's don't have a lot of time left. It is a 3 versus 4. Randy's do have the advantage, but the position's being held by Sparkle team. They got all the utility to support them and a difficult angle to try and fight, and that's exactly what I mean. Is Isoso is going to get that kill onto Amy Lee and even us out into a 3 versus 3. Lua's also on incredibly low health, but has been able to work her way on into the site. They're starting to go for a plant, but there comes the C4 from the Kaid, and down goes the Thermite in the follow-up with the ult to get the kill onto Curligan. And now it is just Tri-Baton left alone. 1 versus 3, 20 seconds left to go. Diffuser down inside of the site. And all the intel in the world now on the side of Sparkle team. The peak coming through from Hystia, the wide swing as well. And that is going to be the defense with yet another round, Grace. And I just want to say this. You know where Pandy's going to play. She's going to be inside a stock. She's going to sit next to the hatch. You know that when you drone her, she doesn't run out the door. She falls down the hatch. So why, Grace, would you not have someone inside of open area looking at the hatch with a gun?
I'm trying to think of an actual reason. Again, I think maybe Randy's just wanted to go a bit more direct, and there's a level of kind of tunnel vision-y with that sometimes, where you're like, this is what we're doing, let's go. Again, perhaps a push to open would have prevented the chaos that did ensue towards that lower skylight as well, because if that hadn't have that was kind of like the coin into the cogs. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was the coin into the cogs. It kind of got a bit messier. It did look really good at start for Randy's. I was like, okay, great. Like, yeah, this utility they're bringing, it's doing them the absolute works. They're able to get this information. They're able to apply tons and tons of pressure, get the wall open, clear a lot of that top floor. it looked like theirs for the taking, and again, just that as you say that rotate just kicked them in the back of the ankle a little bit.
I get wanting to go for the direct push, but the first thing of that direct push that they even went for was to clear Pandy out of stock. You know that Pandy's going to play there, clearing them out of stock, perfect. But then you have nothing stopping the flank through square, where Pandy was then able to get 2 kills and effectively dismantle the round from there. It's the direct push still includes catching that roamer, who you know is going to be there, which was quite upsetting considering how well we've seen RANDYS play consistently throughout the season, for them to get caught out by that for the 3rd round, really. And Andy's in there yet again, and here comes the nade. It's going to force her out towards the hallway, but the shots aren't going to land, and Pandy's going to be able to run around and cause more chaos.
Yeah, and again, she's getting very aggressive against this door, and this aggression needs to be met, but the positioning is not the right. It certainly is no now, but that... Oh, how are you allowed to get away with this? Try batting down Pandy, but not before Maggie falls, and already both teams on a 4 versus 4 within the first minute. It is getting aggressive. It is getting messy. Hystia as well with this aggression just coming out of sight, taking down Lua.
Oh, but they don't know where she is. Okay, try back and readjust. The nade's going to come on out, but that was taking a while for that con to come on through, and Hystia didn't die to the nade. She can still hide behind this railing, but is going to choose to fall down instead. The nade as well coming on through afterwards. Curligan both gone, and nothing for it.
Oh, Mio with a beautiful shot there onto Tribaton. 2 versus 4. Do you know what? I really think RANDYS have the right idea and they're adjusting well. It's this aggression. Hystia there, the 2K. It's the aggression, Dino.
They just don't miss.
This is why I was saying I would simply alt F4 if I cannot with these 2 rosters, genuinely. And Sparkle team, RANDYS, they adjusted the way that they were approaching this, rightly so. And I think they were doing it in a very sensible and logical way. And then Sparkle team just immediately retaliate with this massive aggression. It's, as I often say, you can get away with being aggressive a lot more as a defender because, you know, as the attack, you have your steps you need to follow. You've got your strict path of the way that you want to take that map control. And if a spanner is thrown in the works where someone just randomly is in the door with you, of course that's going to catch you off guard, and you cannot meet that aggression with your own aggression, because again, that's when you want to be passive as an attacker. You need to let them make the mistake of being too aggressive whilst you're holding these crossfires together in a safe and passive way. Let them come to you. If they're going to be kill goblins, let them be kill goblins and trap them, ensnare them almost in your crossfire. Goodness gracious me, what is this evening already? It is barn burners tonight, Dino. Barn burners.
You say entrap them in your crossfire, Grace. Sparkle team didn't even need a crossfire. They just peaked and they just won. Nothing, absolutely nothing RANDYS threw at them in that last round was able to be, you know, enough to stop Sparkle team. The only thing that stopped Sparkle team was Pandy getting too aggressive, peeking on out through the doorway into 2 players that weren't down. That's about the only thing that slowed Sparkle team down in that previous round. And unless RANDYS are able to challenge that same sort of aggression that we're sure to see coming through from the attack, this one could be over quite quickly as well.
But again, RANDYS do have the advantage of being on defense now. I think that, again, realistically, the way that they've attacked, and we know there's a lot of competitive experience in that roster, I think they'll do a better job here, although Pandy of Sparkle team is going to get that first opening pick onto Tribaton, so that's no more magnets that can be thrown out for the rest of this round. There will be some placed, however, to still benefit the team, still benefit the side of RANDYS. Again, though, a lot of patience and clear thinking. Do not get rattled by the match point right now.
말보다는 행동이지.
I do believe Pandy was inside of Garage when she was able to get that kill, and is just going to be holding down the angle and slow things down as Curligan almost able to hit the shot onto the player running inside of the elevator, but it's just going to be the peak, the crossfire coming on through, and Shanice to be the beneficiary as that's going to be Curligan going down. And now Pandy inside of the Garage is going to be applying a lot of pressure onto the 2 players inside of the site, so that's going to be a lot of intel gained for Sparkle Team. So I can probably have a guess as well that Lua, who hasn't been seen so far, is going to be sitting deep inside of the objective as well. This is going to allow them to not clear out the map, and it's going to give them a lot of time to go for this actual execute, as Isoso already opening up that back hatch. Pandy with the nade is going to take down Lua, and that's the Echo gone, Grace. That's a lot of that plant denial that's being brought already eliminated, as Amy Lee getting aggressive is able to get the kill onto Hystia, and Maggie gets the frag onto Mia as well. Shanice goes down off a beautiful peek from the Kaid. That's inside of the elevator, but it's going to be Pandy to get the kill onto Maggie, and it is now just the Kaid left alone, and Pandy with the 3K in the round puts Sparkle Team up 6 rounds to 1.
6-1 indeed, now firmly plunked onto match point. This is a situation that Sparkle Team really wanted to be in, but if you're Randys, you certainly did not want to get to this point. I don't think this round differential really indicates how this map has gone. Yes, there have been some mistakes on the side of Randys on their attack, but at the same time, Dino, they were really adjusting to what was being thrown at them, and they were trying to adjust best to the way that the roam game was coming through. It's just the levels of aggression need to be more balanced and need to be more clean cut here. Again, it certainly works better on defense. We just saw that the previous round. Getting aggressive on that hatch to take down Amy Lee.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Or Amy Lee, rather, getting aggressive on that hatch to take down, I believe it was the Habana?
Yeah, Hystia.
Hystia, yeah. So, again, that works if you are a defender, because people aren't expecting you to open a hatch. You expect someone to just be staring at you if they're like, no, you don't expect that. Of course it's going to work. And again, it's just these nuances with this game. It's these nuances where you're just like, for goodness sake. It's such a
Ooh. Illegal skin?
10 seconds left.
Potentially. I don't think
5
Maggie
seconds
would
to insertion.
run just team kill for the crack of it. Certainly not on match point
Attackers
either.
must
So
locate and defuse the bomb.
potentially indeed a illegal skin. That is unfortunate though. However, hopefully those woolly jumpers are nice and firmly plonked down. Maybe they can still use them.
I don't think they were placed, actually.
I don't think they were.
No, so... Yeah, the Rook dead at the top of the stairs, but... That's going to be that to start the round off. Sparkle Team definitely with the advantage and the momentum to kick things off already, if it wasn't the case to begin with. And there is also going to be a C4 used inside of the site. 5 versus 4 to kick things off, and... Already, Pandy coming on in through server could potentially find a nice early kill, but it's going to be the smoke canisters to slow
Bomb
things
located
down.
by attackers.
Absolutely, and again, for Golden Oldie, clearing open area, getting those hatches nice and open, again, applying more and more dimensions of pressure to the way you want to approach this. Isosu, presumably, here we go, getting that exothermic charge on that wall. We're gonna see a little bit of a shake and bait for these C4s. There is only one C4 though. Amy Lee there on the Kaid. One C4 in pocket. We do have the smoke canisters though, so again, they're gonna need to get baited out. One coming in a little bit prematurely, but flashes being utilized to push the player away from the doorway as well. I love seeing this stance, Dino. I love seeing this stance.
The old take of just get control of server and play for the pick, play the angles. We are going to see Isoso try to go for the plant without actually throwing a smoke down for cover herself. Fragnade coming on out from Pandy is going to deny at least a little bit of the push, but not entirely. And Isoso with the bomb as cover gets the plant down successfully, and now we see Randy's in a retake. Pandy gets one. Amy Lee pushing on up aggressively is able to get the kill onto the thermite. But Pandy still inside a server, could have done so much, but he's going to fall. It's going to be Shanice to get one, and Hystia flanking him from behind with the double. And that is going to be Sparkle Team winning this dominant fashion 7-1.
7-1. We are seeing some absolutely insane ending scores thus far. We are only, this was map number 2 of 4.
Hmm.
And already, a 7-2, a 7-1. It is getting a little bit crazy. It is getting a little bit insane. Again, a really, really incredible performance there by Sparkle team. And again, I really do feel for Randy's because they were doing the right things. Again, it was just that aggression. There was just a lot of rockiness because they don't quite match that aggression when it's coming through from the defense. They are only reacting that way because you've sussed out what they're doing and you're now sending in that utility to deal with it. And they're panicking and being like, let's get aggressive and catch them off guard. Do not meet that aggression. Hold those angles. I do feel for Randy's. Again, Sparkle team, though, they are now neck and neck with Delta, depending on how Delta's match goes this evening. Good performance from both sides. Good performance from both sides. And again, another barn burner. Genuinely, I know we say the word barn burner a lot, but this time it's for realsies. It's for realsies. I can't get over it. Like I'm already just like, what is going on? What is going like 7-2, 7-1? The next two maps, how will they go? Let's find out, Dino. Let's find out. We will be taking a quick little break. We're not going to have an interview. There'll be no more interviews this evening. We do apologize. I think the players are quite busy getting their dubs in, Dino. Getting their dubs in time for Halloween. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back after a short little break for map number 3 of this evening. It's going to be Gypsy Queens versus 6, and this is going to be a very interesting one because it's the battle for the mid-table, Dino.
Yeah, absolutely, and little bit of personal going on in the background as well, if I remember correctly. So we'll have to deal with that one when we get round to it. But like you say, we are going to go to a break before we get onto that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very shortly.